I wanted to ask you if you had a similar experience with this, but basically, I was so used to not having anyone or not having many people that had been through a similar experience as me growing up. And so when I meet people who then say, "Oh, I lost my mum," or "Oh, I lost my dad," I'm like, "Oh, really?" It's like that Spider-Man meme where like they're pointing at each other and they're
Yeah.
exactly looking exactly the same. It was like, "Oh my
But
gosh, you too?"
for me personally, I feel like it's such a awkward, weird subject to want to talk about, and I hate that. So when you start linking, you're like, "Oh, I'm just feeling a bit anxious because," and you're like, "Okay, do I delve into the whole thing, or do I just be like, oh, because I'm just having an off day, like, or is it, well, my sister died," and it's like, oh, you feel everyone else's shoulders in the room.
Yeah.
I've got a tattoo on my ribs, which is 3 butterflies, and I literally got it like a year ago this week. It was my first one, really painful. People always ask like, "Oh, what does it mean?" And oh, it's pretty. It's a photo I found on Pinterest, and I absolutely loved it. But ever since my sister passed away, I would see a white butterfly in the garden, like no other butterfly, just this one.
We knew that we had to tell my brother, obviously, because no one had told him yet. And I was very adamant that I was going to be the one to do it. And he just said, "Where are you going? I'm leaving now. I'm coming down to you. I love you. We'll be okay."
Every Wednesday after a game, I would always ring him and speak to him. It'd be like a recap of the game, recap of like the entire day. So now, still playing, but he's not here. What I do now, every Wednesday night, I write to him now is something I do. And so I have this it's like a kid's money box where it's just got the tiny little slit on the top and you have to fold up the paper really small, but it's just something that kind of blends in my room. So no one ever really knows what it is, but it's just my kind of way to still check in with him.
My sister messaged me the other day and she was like, someone asked her what mum's favourite meal was, and we didn't know. It's just weird things like that. All of a sudden you think, wow, I can't answer that question, and maybe we'll never know. I feel like my brain can subconsciously choose, okay, that's special to me, that's special to me, that one that she gave me, not so much. And in my day-to-day life, these things I stumble upon remind me of mum. Just the red lunchbox from TK Maxx. Like, I absolutely love food, and it was just quite a sweet moment. And that's taken on such significance, just this plastic lunchbox from TK Maxx.
I thought that this was just a really sad thing that has happened to me, and now that's going to be how I'm going to be known by people for the rest of my life. And it's just well, I can either let that be the defining factor and be like, oh, I'm just that sad girl whose mum died at 18, or I can just take that and make it so it's how I joke and it's how I make a situation funny, or break the ice with people a lot as well. It makes me feel like, oh, I've got this special party trick. I feel like a special person.
And every Saturday morning, he used to get me up and we'd walk the shop and he'd get me a pack of jelly tots as he bought the paper. Because it's weird, I can still if I close my eyes, I can still feel how my hand felt in his hand when we'd hold hands walking to the shop. It's like that phantom touch. It's really weird, but I hold on to it very dearly.
He loved a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, but it had to be made right in the order that he liked, which is up for debate. Controversial opinion. He had milk, tea bag or sugar, depending on whatever one it was, hot water, and then stir. And if you made it wrong, he knew you made it wrong, with two digestives with butter, sandwiching them together.
Sometimes, this sounds really weird, but I have the same eyes as my dad. So I sometimes take a photo of them and just look at them. And I'm like,
yeah, I think, I know you said, oh, it sounds weird, but nothing, if it helps, it's not weird. But that's really lovely.
I have like sad playlists on Spotify, or I have like specific films where if I'm in a certain mood, sometimes I just want to watch that because I know it's going to make me cry.
Yeah.
I don't know, sometimes you just know you need to let it out, and it's like, it doesn't always mean that something awful is wrong or that I want to talk about anything. I just need to kind of let things go a bit.
I think one of the other podcasts talks about humour in death.
Yeah.
And how, like, that's very much how I deal with my grief, is making light of the situation, and I think in an actual quite healthy way.
Yes, yeah.
Just because I've like had the deep conversations, you know, it's now time where it's like, it's rubbish that it happened.
Of course,
like,
you can't change it.
Exactly,
you know?
so let's kind of sort of make light where we can. So, and I think we both had that attitude, which was really nice, because then it's kind of like both very shocking stories.
Yeah.
It's less of like a, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And it's more of like a, cool, do you want an almond croissant?
I'd like to share something. It just came to mind, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll say it in Arabic and then I'll say it in English, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's a verse from our holy book, from the Quran. So it says in Arabic, I'll just read it. Innama al-usri yusra fa innama al-usri yusra. So it means with every difficulty there is ease, and then it's repeated. It says, and with every difficulty there is ease.
That's so lovely.
Yeah, I think there's so much power in it, because it's repeated not just once and twice, to affirm that there always is something that is going to get better. With every hardship there is ease, with every difficulty there is ease.
And I think that goes back to both you and I with saying the people around us.
Yeah.
We love so fiercely now because we have lost, and we know that love and how important it is. And, you know, that's never going to go away.
My quote is actually one that I got told by my counsellor at Winston's Wish when I was 12, and it's always stuck with me, and I've written it down here, and it says, there is a crack in everything, and that's how light gets in.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
If you're broken, or if, you know, there's a little crack somewhere in you, that is how the light gets in. That light is hope at the end of the day, and that's what keeps you going.
Grief in Common is a podcast run by the Winston's Wish youth team. The topics of conversation aim to provide comfort and make a difference to other young grieving people over the age of 13.
We hope to give listeners the confidence to talk about their own grief journey.
It's rare to be able to listen to other young people being open and honest about their grief and how they're feeling.
We hope this podcast reaches young grieving people everywhere and helps them to feel less alone.
From teenagers to young adults, students to professionals, we're all different, but we've all got grief in common.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you.